Hey guys, very quickly before we get into the video, I've had to re-upload this video because during the first round of editing that I did on this video, I was waiting on permission to use a piece of artwork for the Lawforged Colossus. There we go, I remember its name. After the video was already uploaded and everything, the person was able to respond because of time zone differences and things like that. And yes, I got permission to use the artwork. Please watch it. Please watch the whole video so that you can actually see this amazing piece of artwork. And the description will have their info as well, like their Reddit and their website as well. Please, guys, go check out artwork. It is amazing so far. Like what I've seen so far, bloody amazing. I hope to actually work with him in the future because he's made some. He or she, I don't know actually. I'll just say they for now. They have made some amazing artwork. Enjoy the video. Hello and welcome. Today you will notice that I've got a bit of a guest here today. Say hello, Stefan.
Hey, it's me, Stefan. Hello. Happy to be here.
If you don't recognise him, how dare you? First off, this is Stefan. He plays. He plays Stefan in our regular game of D&D every week. Today we're going to go through our collective top 10 favourite colossal, like gigantic-sized creatures. I think we've gone through every single one, and we've basically gone and picked like not our 5 favourites, but like we've got 5 each. We're gonna talk a little bit about them. So as I am making the video and everything, apparently I'm going first, according to Stefan.
Oh, yeah. I'm just a guest. I'm just here to hang around and stuff.
Hey, you could be a partner later on. You never know. Okay, so starting off, we have the Ancient Red Dragon. We both believe this one's very cool because it's the classic dragon from like pop culture and stuff, isn't it? It's just one of the biggest, most badass creatures.
Oh yeah, if you look at Dungeons and Dragons, if you think about that title, this would be the embodiment of the dragon of this game. Right?
Exactly.
This classic in this case, from 1E to 5E, the Ancient Red Dragon.
I believe the Ancient Red Dragon has been around since first edition as well, so that gives it some points as well. Which is why we picked it. It's like, as I said, as I was going to say, this is not like a top 10 list or anything like that. This is just 10 of our favourite creatures. So
and a bit of an appreciation for the game as a whole.
Yeah.
Which this Red Dragon, well, can't go without a great one to start this one off.
There are many other great dragons, but we thought Ancient Red Dragon, iconic, so we thought stick with that one.
You go from a power level perspective, this one is ranking near the top. Maybe a gold dragon can compete a bit.
Tiamat.
Tiamat, but it's more like a dragon type.
Yeah, we weren't going to include Tiamat mainly because she's kind of a god, so we might do a god tier list later on. We might do.
Going to be on the power level. Oh yeah, sure. That seems interesting. Yeah, Tiamat is just it's not really a gargantuan creature as such. It's more of like just a foundation of the lore. Of the D&D.
Well, she is a physical thing. You can find
her,
like fight her or talk to her and stuff like that. And she does have stats out there. It's just you guys are gonna have to be like level 20 to get close to somewhat defeating her. And even then, as a god, I don't think she's completely defeated. I think just the physical form is just annihilated, and then she comes back as
Exactly. So, shall we move on to the next one?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, going a bit off the classic path, here is a very interesting creature we found, the Boar Worm. We've heard of you have, for the classics indeed, you have the purple worm, but this one we find is quite unique due to it being a gargantuan construct of a worm with very weird, not necessarily weird, but unique
abilities. Looks and abilities. Yeah.
Because you can view it as like with lots of gears, lots of plating, and because of its material, this is something in the stat block we haven't seen a lot. It has immunities to basically every non-magical physical attack, which has a lot of things, except things that are adamantine, which really suggests like more of like, this is the plating is something that really plays into it. The material of the worm is being played with here, and it's just a cool variant. I'm like, here's the boring worm, the worm that tunnels, and is a standard enemy, but on the construct level makes it that much. It's a very fun variety, I think.
It also makes it much more difficult to combat as your character malsanked.
Oh yeah, anything that doesn't have a soul, like if necrotic or like any soul things don't have effect on him, like yeah, well, shit, you're just a machine.
You're not useless in combat against constructs, but it does certainly definitely make it a bit harder.
Yeah, no, I want someone with a mind and a fear of death that helps. With a construct,
not a construct. Constructs, yeah, doesn't work, I'm afraid. And next on our list of sorts, we have. I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. Croaktalk.
I approve. I couldn't have done a better job.
I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce this one. The best I can come up with is Croaktalk. We both agreed that this was one of the more badass tall creatures, mainly because of its Discourage Allies ability. It doesn't have amazing AC, has a very, very good health pool, but its Discourage Allies is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and the fact that it's on a recharge, so random roll, it only recharges one roll, it's on a 6. Basically, but even then, the possibility of like the continual flow of all of the allies, you can just disgorge.
This creature can open its mouth and disgorge 1d4. How on earth do I pronounce that? I am terrible.
Balguras. 1d4 of Balguras, 3d6 gnolls, led by a gnoll fang of Yinogu, 6d6 dretches, or 1d3 rocks. And each creature it disgorges, it just appears right in front of its mouth.
Yeah,
opens its mouth and it all rolls out.
It can
of death.
Yeah, it can basically summon a small army how we calculate the average every 30-something seconds.
Yeah, if you 1 in 6 chance, it would be 1 in 6 rounds. So every 36 seconds, if a round is 6 seconds, there will be just another burst of
extra enemies.
Yeah. It is like, even though its AC is low-ish, it's hittable, you have to worry more about controlling what flows out of his mouth at the same time as killing him a priority. Therefore, the mechanics in that fight seem really cool.
Yeah,
especially on this gargantuan level of like this building of a creature.
This entire creature just constantly spewing forth enemies as well. Like, there's nothing really you can do about that unless you kill the main creature. But the gnolls, the Bargalops, the Dretches, the Varroks, they're all going to be doing whatever they can to stop you. There's not much you're going to be able to do against that unless you literally have an army on your side as well.
Yeah, and even if those small enemies don't seem intimidating by itself, of course, the possibility that they overflow, just completely surround you and swarm attack in certain ways. Yeah.
It's quite scary as a player. As a DM, it's going to be a nightmare to try and balance.
Good luck keeping track of like every round of combat. You have a chance of adding more characters to the combat and initiative.
Oh god. Well, thankfully, not thankfully for you lot, but thankfully for a DM trying to control the chaos, each of those creatures goes on the Croaktalk's turn.
Yeah, initiative it's sequential in that sense. Yeah.
So essentially, there could be 2 of you before this creature, and then after this creature. Every 36 seconds, that initiative is just going to get longer and longer and longer, and it's going to cause so many more problems.
Exactly.
Oh, good lord! It's, as I said, if we both agree, this definitely deserves its place on the cool list.
Having playing a cleric, I am quite inspired by this next being, who's a gargantuan creature known as Esparia. Esparia is gargantuan does describe it. She towers over city walls, acting in the lore more like a sort of a gatekeeper character, but her lore significance is not really looked at here. It's more of like her just insane presence on the field. And
I'm not sure if she would class as a construct either. I think she is a natural creature.
no, it's just a monstrosity, so it will be an organic.
Yeah.
Although she does speak Sphinx, which is an interesting language to have.
Very.
But yeah.
Well, she does kind of have that look of a sea. There'll be a picture somewhere.
Oh yeah. That like Egyptian air is definitely there. But I feel like even for you as DM, a character such as Esperia is basically a skilled up player you can put up against your party because she's an innate spellcaster, but she comes with up to 8th level spell slots of cleric spells. It's like, well, what matters how many different spells you can use in the case? But these aren't all offensive spells. These are all very unique spells. Word of Recall to teleport away, dispel evil and good, scrying. Just like very utilitarian spells that you wouldn't expect a regular enemy in D&D to have. It's basically a very tactical enemy to have.
Well, even then, it doesn't need to be an enemy. It can easily be
like... Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
But as like someone who would work against the party, that would be a strategical battle, basically, from the...
Based upon, like, the art I've seen and, like, the spell list and everything like that, and based on just what the kind of creature is itself. Yes, it might be a monstrosity, but I feel like this is a very good aligned creature.
Oh yeah, this is one for law. Esperia, like what I've seen for the law is it's all about the legality and
justice.
She did all about the justice. So that would be definitely a gargantuan creature. One of the few I think you could easily swing to your side with good
easily.
Morals and logic and the legal procedures.
A paladin's best friend.
Well, exactly. And so this is for gargantuan creatures, quite an oddity and a very utilitarian creature, I guess, in the world. Which, quite interesting, I'd say.
I definitely would say. I would like to run one maybe in the next campaign, because I don't really see a way of fitting this creature into this campaign. Maybe next campaign. Maybe in the next campaign. Maybe in the next campaign with like all the floating islands and stuff like that. That's too much.
Well, yeah, but in a sense, like a campaign maybe with even a bit of a power level up because this is one of those like creatures. If they're just if she is naturally around, that shows an amount of insane power that just floats around. So I think the players kind of have to be able to match that if they choose to go against her will. Because, I mean, imagine an 11th level party as we are right now. That would be no match.
No. An 11th level party would not be able to do much, if anything, to this creature. You might be able to get a few pot shots, but...
The hammer of justice would swing down hard.
All she'd have to do is just take a pull.
Yeah, she would find us through all the cleric spells of, like, her finding her way towards the scrying, dispelling evil and good. Like anything, if you are an evil party, this would be your greatest enemy.
Yes, 100%. And next is Magira the Dawn Titan. We both agree that this one's actually pretty cool, mainly because it reminded us of a Balrog, almost.
A lot, yeah, there's a lot of a Balrog. Yeah.
Especially with the fire aura and fire form. Definitely pretty good. And with a fireball spell at will, definitely boosts this thing's power level. Because Fireball is a 3rd level, so starts off at 3rd level. That, I believe, is 8d8 fire damage.
Yeah, it's just it is in a radius, too, so it's just it's a fire bomb you can just lob every turn.
Yeah.
It doesn't say a level at it, though.
No, Fireball is always the 3rd level. That's the lowest.
Always a 3rd level. Yeah.
It's a 3rd level spell.
If it doesn't specify, it's a base level,
Yeah.
But still, Jesus.
Yeah.
At will. No limitations. Every action. Just
every action, fireball, yeah. I would probably have like some like flavour to it and say like it's coming out of its back or something like that. Because it's like a giant fiery creature, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it could just be like an erupting volcano in that sense. Just a volley of fireballs.
Its quench magic ability as well. It can basically stop any fire resistance that's caused by a spell or a magic item as well, which definitely is going to hurt in the long run. For you, for Malsanct as a racial trait, I don't think it will be affected.
No, it's not a racial. It's like innate to my body. If you have a magical effect, like you could prepare as much as you want for this fight, but you're gonna burn. That's the end of it.
You don't play with fire, you're gonna get burned.
Exactly.
It's create fire elemental. Every three actions, it can just spawn a fire elemental as well, which I think is definitely pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah, maybe it shows from like the previous entry of the army spawning, which we liked.
Yeah.
I just really like when someone just spawn an enemy to aid in their battle.
Yeah.
Just to escalate and more dynamically grow the field. Here we go, the next one. Well, a lot of you may have heard, of course, from Mind Flayers and all of their extended lore, and the tadpoles they use to control people's brains, like to infect and to read their thoughts and give some illicit powers.
But that's just it. And I was like, you don't know a huge amount of how Mind Flayers work, do you?
Well, no. I mean, all I know is I'm basically a Baldur's Gate 3. Which is a good source, but still.
Well, you know those tadpoles? That's how the Mind Flayers reproduce. You infect a humanoid, or like a humanoid race, playable race.
Goes behind the eye.
It goes behind the eye, into the brain. That's how Mind Flayers are made. But
oh yeah,
if you'd like to continue.
Oh yeah, but those tadpoles sometimes it is not common practice for them to just leave them out and about. They might just get a little bit cannibalistic and make sure they are grow of something, because they're still living creatures, so they want to live even if they aren't injected into a living brain. If you leave that uncontrolled for a bit too long, you might get this next creature, the Neopholid. Neopholid, which is basically that tadpole, that tiny cute little tadpole to gargantuan size.
Yeah, essentially, Mind Flayers, if a Mind Flare area is attacked, like their home or city or whatever is attacked, their spawning pools, basically if they're left and then unchecked, they'll essentially, the strongest one will survive, eat the rest, and then grow into this giant creature. Mind Flayers flipping hate these things because they cannot be mentally controlled.
It's not in their interest. Like when they're in the tadpole form, they have a good connection with them, but at that point it just becomes a feral beast.
Yeah. Well, even in tadpole form, they are feral creatures. It's just when they take on a host.
Yeah, then the connection can be formed.
I don't know if you've seen it before, but have you ever seen Stargate?
No, I haven't seen Stargate.
You need to watch it, because these things remind me a lot of the Goa'uld in that.
But yeah, the Neopholides as just a loose canon of the Mind Flayer family is, as a lore-wise, I love it. Just the most, it isn't innocent as a tadpole, it's just a tool. But at the point where it becomes so out of control that even Mind Flayers are fearing of the thing, because it is a colossal challenge at that point to take down with no opportunity to mind control or any of the usual methods used with their illicit powers.
Yeah.
It just becomes the best wild card in an environment where Mind Flayers would be. I feel like that, just to toss that in, that would just shake up the entire structure of the world.
Yeah, like say if you guys were like being captured by a bunch of Mind Flayers or something like that, and you were being taken back to, like, I don't know, be either talked to, interrogated, or maybe even turned into Mind Flayers. You don't know. Imagine one of these things barreling through the wall and just messing stuff up.
Exactly, yeah. It's the most fun wildcard while being thematically on point.
Oh, yeah. And next on our list is a oldie but definitely a goodie, the Tarasque. The Tarasque is basically Godzilla of D&D.
Yeah, this had to be on there, of course.
Yeah. Considering it's a reflective carapace as well, resistance against magic. For any D&D pie, even an overpowered one, you're gonna get messed up. You're gonna get your magic missile back in the butt.
It also has like one of the highest challenge ratings across the entire game. The challenge rating of 30.
30.
This is basically the top limit of our parameters. We said like no gods, no like named gods and like weird deity creatures. But then like the Tarasque is the one that is basically on that level at a point.
Yeah.
It's just world ending.
If my lore knowledge is correct, I think even a couple of gods fear this thing.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised. I really wouldn't. Yeah, with its multi-attack, its bite, claw, horns, tail, its multi-attack, it can make 5 attacks, using each one of them. It's absolutely insane.
All of the legendary actions, of course, it has is prepared for anything. Compared with the magic resistance, not even resistance, the reflectiveness is
Scary.
Yeah.
It is terrifying. I don't think I would put you guys up against this creature until you guys are at the very least, level 18.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even max levels with like the most OP magic item, like artifacts and legendary magic item, you can have a good fight with that.
Yeah. It's one of the coolest creatures, we reckon.
Mm-hmm. And even then, I feel like you have to have some world setup allies to get ready for you. Like just a party of a couple of adventurers, sure, the most OP adventurers that can be. Still, I think
you might
you need...
be able to take this thing out. If you've got an army on your side, you'll have a better chance. But even then,
Diverse folks. Yeah.
Yeah. Tarasque, 100% on our cool, awesome list.
Yeah, a Gargantuan classic. Speaking of the classics, a Kraken would be another one, but that is not the next one on our list. It's the variant on it. It is Tromokratis. Tromokratis, a Gargantuan monstrosity.
I like the inflection. I liked the inflection you put on there. Say it again.
Tromokratis.
So it shows up your spine.
But it has, it is a Kraken variant. It goes around the seas. It notoriously vents its wrath on coastal settlements and the like, all of that good stuff. But what makes this even more interesting than just a good old Kraken is also its mechanics, which really drew us to this creature.
We described it as like a 2-stage boss, didn't we?
Well, yeah, it's like there's you can make this as a mythic encounter. In the mythic encounter variant, there is an entire area dedicated to taking out its hearts. It has not one, it has 4. So that is an entirely
2 in his chest.
Another stage to the combat.
If I remember correctly, 2 in his chest, 1 in his back, 1 in the base of its tail, because it's such a massive creature.
Oh yeah, exactly. And because it's a massive creature, that means a lot of movement and maybe tactics are needed to even attempt to kill all those hearts in an efficient way. So you have this Kraken challenge before you, but that is not all, because next to it all its other legendary resistances, the spell resistance, this is siege monster only, and all his attacks are magic weapons. There is, after all that combat with the classic legendary creature, there is the mechanic you have to control at the same time. And since it is a Kraken and movement is necessary to get to the hearts, if you're on a sea, like on a sea environment, naval environment, that might be a bit of a challenge to move around to the place of the heart, or the hearts that you want.
And even if you do manage to kill it, like initially, it could just sink, and it could be used, and it could be put as the DM. It could be put back in the jar, ready for later.
Exactly. So, as a mythic encounter, I love the mechanic. It is like, if there is a fight, there is the fight you would want, and there's more. Like it's the classic immersion. But wait, there's more. 4 hearts.
4 hearts,
yeah.
I believe each of them have 100 hit points, and it's like an AC of 22, I think.
Yeah.
Should say that.
And it's also resistant.
And that's just the hearts. That's just the hearts.
Yeah, like the heart by itself, AC of 22 has 100 hit points, 22. And it's immune to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical attacks, and immune to all conditions. So it is, again, a heart by itself is not an easy thing to destroy. Just like that. Oh, got that heart. Oh, got that heart. Move on, next heart. No, it's like that's a challenge on its own.
And because of the size of this thing, it's probably like a day between each heart. So you're gonna have to have some kind of magical means to bounce to the new locations of the heart.
Exactly. So that is like, it is indeed a task sometimes greater than the party to fell the creature fully.
If I was running this thing, I would have it be the BBEG in some way. Maybe it's like intelligent. Maybe it's an intelligent version of it, being the mystic
counter. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And next on our list, with 410 hit points and an armor class of 23, we have Lawforged Colossus. We had a little bit of a discussion about this. We couldn't really Well, we did agree in the end, didn't we?
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it was like, do we want to use this type of do we want to use this kind of colossal construct, or do we want the Colossus of Arcros, aka ROS?
Yeah.
Because you really liked the Arcos one because it's very reminiscent of the Colossus of Rhodes.
Yeah, it just inspires a lot of story immediately with it, because how it's basically as a good frame of reference of how big it would be. But then we looked up what the Warforged Colossus size is. That's more than double, if not triple sometimes. That is an insane 200 to 300
feet.
that is
and how
strive in a world. This seems like an entire fun thing to go through.
Yeah. And how tall was the Colossus of Rhodes?
About be up to 100 feet, but that's an estimate. But it'll be around up to 100 feet.
So this thing could be double or even triple its size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Warforged Colossus it's really goddamn cool with some of its abilities it has. Of course, as a construct, it is immune to necrotic poison, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. Sorry, it's on my sword screen. I can't quite see very well. And it's immune to being charmed, exhausted, frightened, incapacitated, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, and stunned. That's a lot of things to be immune against. But one of its abilities, one of its attacks, definitely caught my eye. Incinerating Beam recharges on a 5 and a 6. The Colossus fires a beam of light in a 150-foot line and a 10 feet. That is 10 feet wide. Each creature in the line must make a DC 26 dexterity saving throw, taking 60 or 11d10 damage on a failed save. Half as much on a successful one. A creature reduced to 0 hit points by the beam is disintegrated.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, leaving behind anything it was wearing or carrying. Again, we both agreed that this sounded like the War of the Worlds tripods, didn't we?
Yeah, it's like this massive robotic thing just beaming down with like the mechanic of the Beholder's maybe scariest weapon.
Yes.
Is also on
this thing.
And rounding off the 10 favorites, we love our classics, and this one you might not expect on our Gargantuan list, the Gelatinous Cube.
Giant ooze variant.
Yeah, normally just a large creature, but it has gigantic variants to the point where it just becomes bigger than buildings, a Gargantuan cube. I just love the simplicity of this.
Same.
It is familiar. It's like, oh, it's a gelatinous cube. It's just about 16 times as big.
Yeah.
If not more. It just can swallow up. You're just sitting in the bar and suddenly the walls start melting. Like, what's happening?
Yeah. Can you guys imagine being sat in Finn's Tavern and next thing you know the door starts like oozing?
Yeah, it's like a bit like a bubbling, a bit like corroding. Like, what's happening there?
Next thing you know, you guys are surrounded by a giant gelatinous cube. Like, oh.
Yeah. This is advancing through the...
There's only one tiny gripe I have with it. Would it still retain its cube-like shape? That's the only thing I have with it. Like, at that size, why not? Magic did it. There you go.
It could be magic, or it could just be denser too. It could just be like even, like it probably would be denser because logically you'd scale the hit points too. Like, well, it is a bit of a tougher material. It can still suck it up. It's a bit more syrupy.
Increases AC, increases its attacks, like the amount of acid damage it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's also a little bit more viscous. It's like a little bit more like syrup now than water. It's a little bit thicker, but still can suck you up. So its grasp is even stronger if you're in there because it's thicker. You have to do a higher DC strength roll to get out, for example. Just threat increased.
I really want to run one of these things now.
Right.
I don't know where I'd put it in our current story.
Well, you could also do it like strategically in like a building, like the front door of the building, like that wall gets like enveloped first, and like, all right, before we fight this thing, there is the mini game of getting out of this building because the front door's blocked. We can't go there. Now we have to find a way out on a timer because every turn it gets closer through the building. So that becomes like a bit of a claustrophobic. Like a very mechanical minigame with that comment. Like, you have initiative. If you stand and fight, you'll be inside a building, inside a gelatinous cube. Good luck.
Yeah.
But
wait, there's more. We have a bonus list.
Oh yeah.
We're going to be starting off with this is kind of a jokey one, but at the same time, we love the idea of like you guys one day maybe going up against one of these things. Brontosaurus. Even though the Brontosaurus is a very simple creature, armor class 15, 121 hit points, we, as big fans of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World and things like that, we thought this would be a very almost like a cute entry.
This is the most funny thing of the dissonance of being in a complete fantasy tabletop role-playing game and have like dinosaurs there all of a sudden. It's just the complete like very opposite. I guess fandoms. I guess
it seems like it, but
a bit of science in this fantasy tabletop, and a very recognizable, supposedly real creature being there. Well, yeah, the next one is the Sky Swimmer. Sticking with like the bestial theme. This is also as a bit of a mythical beast, but still challenge rating 13. On power level, not that interesting, but it defines the concept Gargantuan. Because looking for the Gargantuan creatures, you have, for example, the Rock, this massive avian creature, this towering bird.
And no, we're not talking about Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Not that Rock, the other one. The one with a beak. And
I had to.
And that imposing creature, that imposing Gargantuan creature, is a snack for this one. It eats them regularly as a meal. The Sky Swimmer is so big. It is just pure skill-wise. That is.
And just for context for people who don't know, the Rock, R-O-K, is a gargantuan bird. Essentially, the wingspan is the size of a city. This Sky Swimmer's eaten them. That's how big these things are.
We did a Gargantuan list. We just didn't make it onto our favorites, but if you talk about Gargantuan, this is Gargantuan.
Yeah. This I reckon they should have given it the Titan classification.
Yeah.
Easily fits within that category. And the next one on our bonus list is the how on earth do I pronounce this?
Ogremok. I think it's an ogre or something. Ogremok.
A giant stone creature, essentially.
Yeah. Earth elemental to scale.
Yeah, Earth elemental on steroids. We basically atoned it to, didn't we?
Yeah. And it's on this bonus list because flavor-wise it's amazing, but it's more of the same, like the army spawner and the Balrog. As in, it can make more of himself by just taking pieces off of his stone body, laying it down, and it becomes an Earth Elemental or a Gargoyle.
Yeah, summoning elementals one a day. The Ogmod summons up to 3 Earth Elementals and loses 30 points of health for each elemental he summons. Summoned elementals have maximum hit points, appear within 100 feet of the Ogremot, and disappear if Ogremot is reduced to 0 hit points. So it's essentially one of those things of kill the head to kill the rest of it. Sort of thing.
Yep, you can also do a Gargoyle as an action. That's 50 hit points.
Oh yes, you can. I believe you can only summon one of those, though.
Right. But yeah, just very cool. Just a massive mountain. Also, like the opportunity of having like lair actions.
Yes.
And everything he does to the surroundings is cool. Like he makes tremors and sinkholes in the mile radius around him, and in those tremors and sinkholes, he can even have temporary portals to the Earth, the plane of Earth.
Elemental plane of Earth. Essentially a parallel dimension almost.
So yeah, that is super cool, and it also really fits super well in the campaign we're running right now. So
I may have to hide one in a bunch of hills or a mountain, maybe.
Yeah, that would be very cool just to interact with.
Depending on element. Well, you guys currently in the campaign have 3 choices or 3 directions you can go. One of those might have this guy.
Sure, there are mountains in a certain direction I can see.
There are true, but there are other mountains in other places. I just need to finish the rest of the map.
Oh yeah, sure. And the next one, just pure flavor favorite. We mentioned it before in a video, but the Colossus of Akros.
In this video.
Yeah, earlier in this video, it was it was that good as getting mentioned twice. Not on the list, but just in
in our
just
bonus.
because it's cool. Since it is, well, such easily you can visualize it so well. As the Colossus of Rhodos, the mythical statue just guarding a port. It is seemingly, it's imposing. Of course, it was meant to be imposing, but if you think of the Colossus of Rhodos, it's more of like it's innocuous. It's a statue, and the fact that can just come to the defense of this port town at a moment's notice, just step down from its plinth. And
I noticed you haven't. I've noticed you haven't actually said its name yet. You've just been saying the Colossus of Rhodos.
Oh, I said Akros in the beginning.
Did you?
I did.
My mistake. Sorry. It didn't sound like it.
No, we're talking about the Colossus of Akros. You can
Yes.
edit that in the front if you want.
Nah, this bit's getting uncut.
Amazing. So yeah, the renowned statue just taking point and doing its duty in defending its town. It just sounds amazing. An imposing figure making its promise true. I just love the visual of it. That rounds out the list.
It does. Right. Remember, if you liked our video, please make sure you leave a like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. And we will, of course, see you in the next one. Peace, bye, we love you guys.
Bye.
So let's do it a couple of times so I can pick which one's the best.
3, 2, 1.
But wait, there's more.
Mirror, there's mirror. Do it again.
Blooper! Blooper!
There it is.
Oh, God.